Welcome to Grazing Hell, the one and only podcast made by a cow. And today I've got a very, 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 very special guest in the flesh, and that is Friendly Space Ninja, aka Dylan. That's your human
person.
name. Yes.
Because
yeah.
I am a superior guest.
Exactly.
That's for you, Broy. I came in person.
Oh, we will get Broy in person here one day.
If she does, I'll come back.
Yeah.
Just to spite her.
Whoa, just to up stage.
Just to prove that I'm still just as good as she is.
Oh, but yes, welcome to London. This is your first time ever in London.
Yes,
right?
This is my first time in London. I am absolutely loving it. I am kind of jealous that you get to live here every day. Because I'm coming from a very wintry Canada. But this is fun. I love it here. This is amazing.
Yeah. So, because you're from Paris.
Paris, yes.
I was born. That. Yeah.
I was born in Paris, and I grew up there for quite a bit, and then went to Canada. And I guess most of my childhood was just going back and forth between France and Canada and France and Canada. And eventually I just stayed in Canada, and I really love it there, actually. I clown it a lot, and also the winter is very annoying. But I really love living in Canada. And Paris, as much as I, love it, it's my city, I was born there, I will always have an attachment to it. Paris is just very hectic. I live in Montreal, and Montreal, I feel is the perfect middle ground between a huge ass city and then a smaller city that is more manageable, so it doesn't feel too hectic. And now I got used to that, so if I go to a bigger city, I feel very much overwhelmed. Right. I go to Toronto and I just want to die. It's gotten huge, and it is insane. It never stops moving, and there's just so much happening all the time. The traffic is ridiculous, and I go there, and it's a pretty city. There's a lot to see there, but it's just so hectic, and my brain just can't handle that anymore. I'm going to Paris in a few days, and I'm already panicking.
Though London is really big. So what is it? What's the difference here? Is it the way it's spread out? Do you think it's the layout?
Probably. To be fair, I've only been here one day, and I've been to the very touristy place. So I guess I don't know. I haven't seen the very much intense part of London, I guess, yet. But I'm very loving it because it's just pretty here. Everything is so pretty. I don't know if it's because I'm too much of a Harry Potter nerd, and I'm just London is so magical.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it is. And I mean, we were talking about the architecture earlier and how it's got a really nice mix of architecture. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Different places just feel very different. It doesn't feel like just a block of the same thing everywhere. Yeah. So it's interesting to discover more so than other cities I've been to.
Okay. No, yeah. I love that. I mean, obviously I'm biased. I love London because I live here, but I would like to visit Canada in the near future.
I mean,
maybe that would happen. I'm not saying
it happen sooner than later.
Ooh, tease.
Why? We won't tell. Secret projects, teasing.
But yeah, so I'm excited to see Montreal, and I think hopefully I'd be able to handle Toronto if I can handle London.
If you're, I'm pretty sure you'll be fine. You'll be fine in Toronto.
Dang.
It's very intense, but it's a nice city. Please don't kill me.
Yeah. It's too much for you. Yeah.
It's a lot for me because I'm fragile.
Yeah. Oh, me too. Me too.
No, you're London fragile. Yeah. You're fine. You're totally okay.
Yeah, I'm a bit hardened by London, so that's good, I suppose. Though, as a kid, as I mentioned earlier to you, I did grow up in California, a small town there.
I can't imagine you in an American setting. It's so funny to me.
I had an American accent.
Yo.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird to think about.
Isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah, because when you're a kid, you go somewhere, it only takes you a week to pick up the accent.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
You're just always...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you like it in California?
I loved it. I mean, it's a nice... Assuming you're, not in poverty or whatever, it's a nice place to be a kid,
Yeah.
I had didn't have school uniform. Coming back to England after, I was like, why have you done this to me? Because it's sunny and all your friends like I had friends who had like swimming pools and stuff.
Right.
So we'd just go and like swim all the time. But somehow I forgot how to swim when I came back to the UK.
Same.
Yeah,
same.
it's so embarrassing. And I have the same thing whenever I try and ride a bike. I'm like, you know how this is? It's like riding a bike. I'm like, is it though? Because I forget every time. Every time I get on a bike, I
don't think I've been on a bike in like 10 years.
Well, maybe you've forgotten.
Oh, I'm kind of terrified of that now.
Yeah, maybe don't go. In London, a big thing is these. They're called Santander bikes. They used to be called Boris bikes because Boris used to be the mayor of London.
Oh, right.
And tourists tend to ride them around, which it's like a nice way to get around London to cycle. But it's absolutely terrifying. So if you haven't cycled in 10 years, I would recommend you don't do that.
Actually, I think I'm too scared to bike here.
Yeah, no, me
you
too.
guys, what is with the traffic here? You guys drive like maniacs.
Yeah, London
and I
drive.
say that with love. But...
No, it's true.
Yeah.
London drivers are horrible. Like you will be in the right in that as a pedestrian, like it'll be the green man you're meant to be crossing, and some London drivers will just zoom through and beep at you, and it's like, I'm in the right here.
Yeah, I was just in Uber to meet you. Yeah. I was terrified.
Yeah.
Like the guy. I'm still not used to like driving on the left thing.
Yes.
So, but that
one
happens.
Of the few countries that do. I think there's only like us, Australia, and maybe a couple of.
And then Japan, I think I'm pretty sure. But yeah, like you guys will just hit a right, and it's terrifying.
Yeah,
absolutely terrifying. I was like, listen, I'm on vacation.
Yeah,
I did not sign up for Fast and Furious 10.
Literally, I have that all the time whenever I get Ubers because obviously I don't drive because I'm a Londoner and I'm avoiding learning as long as possible.
Same. I just started my driving lessons in Canada. It's so dreaded for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. But every time I feel like they almost get in a collision every time, and I'm just like, could we just not? Like, because it's so scary.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. You guys have like particularly bad traffic, and I'm from Paris. Yeah. We have terrible traffic over there. Like we drive like maniacs over there too. But here I was a couple of times, and I've been here one day, and a couple of times I've been like, yo, my guy.
Yeah.
Will you please?
No, at least here you don't get fined for jaywalking, which you do in the US. Is that a thing in Canada?
Yeah. I think I've gotten one when I was like 16. It was like $57 because I crossed at the yellow light. And that one cop was like, fuck you in particular today. And he got me. Okay,
so for people who aren't aware, jaywalking is just when you cross the road when the light isn't green.
Yeah.
And in London, that's perfectly allowed. I mean, I'm sure it's annoying for drivers, but there's no penalty for it. And in fact, it's a very Londoner thing. You can tell someone's a Londoner if they wait till there's a tiny gap between cars. And like there's a car approaching and they'll just like zoom across the road. They'll just run across and I just sort of think, is it worth it? Is it worth nearly getting run over?
Yeah. I'm sure it saves time sometimes.
It does, but at the risk of, at your peril.
Yeah, I'm too much of a wimp now. I don't do
same.
It.
No, even as a Londoner, I just can't hack it. I'm like, I'll just wait till the green man, especially when I've got my dog with me as well. Like,
right. I feel like in general, I feel like I turned 25 and I realized, anything can kill me.
Yes.
And so now I'm like so careful about stuff. I feel like a grandma.
Yes.
But I'm just like, okay, just survival, man.
Yeah, it's so easy to die. Not to be grim, but it is.
It's so easy to die.
It's true though. And I always think of that when I watch something like The Hunger Games, for example. You know that bit where they're doing the prep and they're doing their training. I'm assuming you've seen The Hunger Games.
I've seen it one too many times.
Okay, right. And you know the bit where she's like, most of you will die of natural causes. And it's like, holy shit, it's so easy to die. Like, you not only do you have to worry about people like killing you, but you're worried about just like getting a bit of frostbite.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm so like, I have such a thing with nature where I'm just like, why do you guys always have to go bother nature?
Yeah.
Why do you do that? Like, people who like go on like hiking trips in the woods where there's no city in like 1,000 kilometers, and I'm just like, okay, but why though?
Yeah, but why?
Why would you ever? Like, that's such, you're just like asking death to be like, I guess I'll get you.
Or climbing Everest like really high.
Oh my
to the
God.
part where
Don't you have a job?
Pressure. Yeah.
Do something. God damn it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm glad we're on the same page. Like, I'm not anti-nature. I quite like the outdoors. I like woods and stuff, but
it's fine for a weekend.
Yeah.
Ship my ass back to the city.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm good in the modern world. I like it there.
Exactly. I like being alive. That's my hot take.
Exactly. But if your biggest danger is jaywalking, you should be pretty safe.
Yeah, literally. But Yeah, so now that we've got all that fun stuff out the way, I've realized I should have done this sooner, but I'd be shocked if people weren't familiar with you. But in case they aren't, do you want to just tell us about what you do, what your channel is?
So I'm a YouTuber on the YouTube platform,
Mm-hmm.
and I review movies but mostly television.
Mm-hmm.
I like to roast things because it's funny,
Mm-hmm.
but also I'll talk about things that I enjoy and it's really fun. And actually, I think it would be okay if people didn't know who I am because I am a very new YouTuber. I started in February last year.
2021.
Yeah.
Was that the Emily in Paris video?
Yes, that was my first video.
Do you want to tell us about that, like how that went viral?
In a very unexpected way. I think it's because like it was the pandemic and I was a bit, I don't want to say bored, but like I was doing plenty of stuff, but the being at home all the time made me want to just do something artistic and just kind of get it out of the way because I do music as well and stuff like that. But I was just like, okay, I want to try and do if I can try YouTube, you know, because I love YouTube. I've been watching YouTube like forever. I am obsessed with this platform. I think it's so great. It's gone through a lot of changes, obviously, and not everything about it is perfect, but it's a great platform and I love it. And I wanted, actually, my first video, I wanted it to be about Riverdale because I had so much to say about it.
Wow.
So like the first paragraph of script that I wrote for my channel is actually still in my Riverdale video that I ended up doing
the
way
2-hour one,
later.
2 hour 20 minutes or something.
Yes,
bonkers.
it is excessively long. I'm so pretentious.
I love it though. I've watched it so many times.
Tara,
watched it multiple times.
That's like me with your video about the royal family.
Oh,
I can't count the amount of people I've showed this video to. I'm just like, isn't that fucking crazy, dude?
Yeah, I know that. Oh, we can talk about that in a bit.
Yes, for sure. So I wanted it to be about Riverdale. I had like so much to say about this show because it is so frustrating on so many levels, but also very funny. But then my girlfriend at the time tells me like, hey, you got to come see this. Like she was watching something in the kitchen. And I go, and it's that ridiculous scene from Emily in Paris where this one Asian woman starts singing La Vie en Rose in the middle of a park. And I saw that and I was like, what the fuck are you watching?
Yeah. So just to explain this scene, am I right in thinking that Emily's friend, she makes a friend in Paris who's another American.
Yes, Asian American. Her name is Mindy.
Right.
Yeah.
And she's basically a vessel to make racist jokes.
Pretty much. In season 1, they fix her in season 2. I'll give them that. But in season 1, yes, it's they only use her as a mouthpiece to either say terrible things about other cultures or to straight up say things that are very mean towards Asian culture or Chinese culture more specifically, which I think is weirder because at the time of doing this first video, Mindy, who is a Chinese character, is actually played by a Korean actress, which I didn't realize that at the time. So it's very weird that they were like, oh, we're going to cast you as this Chinese character and say horrible things through you about Chinese culture, but you're not even Chinese.
Yeah.
So it's very, very strange. Yeah. A terrible choice. I don't know what they were thinking with that, but yeah.
And there's this scene where it's like towards the end, maybe?
It's like, it's like in the last few episodes of the show, there's this sequence where
you're already frustrated.
I can't with this scene. They're hanging out in a park, and they're talking about whatever, probably their dating life. That's the only thing they've got going for them in this show. And like they're talking about something, and then Emily encourages Mindy to sing because I guess she wants to be a singer. That's like one of the 0.5 storylines there is in this show because nothing ever happens. And so she stands up and because everything is a cliche in this show, she starts singing La Vie en Rose by Edith Piaf, which is like the most cliche French song you can possibly think of. And everyone around them is so taken aback by this woman singing La Vie en Rose.
Apparent French people as well.
Exactly, yeah. Which I'm from Paris, let me tell you, no. Absolutely not. If you show up in Paris and just start singing La Vie en Rose, people are going to go back to their day immediately. They don't care.
It would be like in London if tourists just started singing God Save the Queen or something.
Yeah, or like Imagine by John Lennon. just in the middle, like in front of Buckingham Palace. And then the Queen comes out and she's like, "This is wonderful." Yeah, it is absolutely the stupidest scene ever. And I thought it was so ridiculous that it actually kind of pissed me off.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Why are you watching this?" And she was like, "I just needed something in the background while I'm working." And I was like, "Okay, I'm going to go watch this whole thing." And I watched the show and it was so bad. Emily in Paris season 1 is so bad.
I couldn't even get through the pilot. It was so boring. So you're braver than the Marines. You got through 2 seasons.
Yeah, I got through 2 seasons. Season 2 was like, I do think season 2 is better overall. Not by a lot, but like it is a way more tolerable. Like I understand why people would just watch this as dumb escapism. But like season 1 is like particularly stupid, and it's just not that well written.
Right.
It's very like they go for every possible cliche and everything, and it just feels very lazy. Even though like the thing is, the cast is actually pretty good. Like I love Lily Collins; she's amazing.
Yes, and I love she plays her boss. What's her name? That actress.
French
actress.
Oh yes, it's Philippine Leroy-Beaulieu. She's amazing.
And she's in a show that I love called 10%. Are you familiar with it?
Oh yeah, I haven't
Call My
watched it, but
Agent.
yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's so
Yeah.
funny, and it's basically set in a acting agency in Paris, and it's fantastic. And she's in it, and she's great. in it.
She is so great. She's the only great part of the show, like genuinely great. I think that Lily Collins, as much as I love her, she's fine as Emily. Like she does a perfectly good job at portraying what this character is. It's just the problem is the character ain't shit.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
It's just not that great.
Yeah.
And Ashley Park, who plays Mindy, I hate the character of Mindy, but she is fantastic in this role. Like she gives, like the character has so much more personality that she should ever be allowed to have, because she's just amazingly charismatic, and that comes very much from Ashley's performance. And that's fantastic. And I love Lucas Bravo, who plays Gabrielle, who's the main love interest. Terrible character as well. Like the cast is really good, and like there are a lot of elements of the show that could have been great, but that's how you know that like writing is everything, because it's the laziest writing ever. It doesn't make a lot of sense. The characters just kind of do things. It's not like nothing has a purpose. There's no progression of a storyline. It's just a show where things happen.
Yeah.
So I watched the show and I was very frustrated with it. I hated the way they portrayed French people in a way that feels very regressive, and like Paris is a very hectic city, and people can be kind of like rude and dismissive, I guess. But like they really made it seem like every French person is an asshole on the grounds that they're French.
Yes, the way they said French as opposed to Parisian as well, because like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding, and it's the same in the UK, people from outside of Paris think Parisians are mean, and like in the UK, people who are not from London think Londoners are mean. So that's normal. That's perfectly fine.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. My mom says you haven't visited France if you've only been to Paris.
Oh, of course.
Because Paris is such a isolated bubble that has nothing to do with the rest of France.
Yeah.
And I say that with love. Again, Paris is my city. I love it. But it is not representative of what France is and like what French culture is. Paris is its own little bubble. But for a lot of, especially for Americans, it's like, France is Paris. They have no idea what's happening around it. It's like they maybe know the Cannes Film Festival, and that's about it. But yeah, so like I watched it and I was like, okay, this is so stupid, and it frustrated me so much. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make that my first video. So I wrote it, and I made a video, and then I posted it. And at first, it was just kind of like, and I remember telling my girlfriend at the time, I was like, oh, maybe if I keep putting like good content consistently, maybe in like 2 years it'll start picking up. I remember telling that to her, and in my head it was like, cool, I'll just like, I'm having fun doing it, nobody's gonna watch it, but like I'm just gonna keep going because it's so fun. Like it made me feel so alive to make this thing. And then the video had like 2,000 views after like the first week, and in my head I was like, that's fantastic. That was way more than I had like ever thought it would have. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Then maybe, there's something there. And I posted like a couple more videos. I did one on Project X, which I hate that video so bad. Oh my God. I did that. And then there was the Golden Globes thing that happened. and with Emily in Paris. And so I made like a second video on Emily in Paris and also like my general opinions on award shows. And then one day I'm going to bed and my video has like 2,000 views, maybe even less than that. And I wake up and it has like 40,000 views. And I'm just like, how though?
Yeah.
How did this happen? And then like I open Reddit and like my video is at the top of the Netflix subreddit and stuff like that. I'm just like, yo, what's happening? And it keeps going up and it keeps going up. By the end of the day, I'm over 100,000 views. And then 2 days later, I reached 1 million. And the day after that, it has another 1 million. And I'm just like, the thing is, it was so sudden and it happened so fast that I couldn't even be like happy.
I had that exact same thing when
because like because you just don't know how to handle that.
Yeah.
It just laid
so
on you.
Quick.
Yeah, so I couldn't be like happy or sad, or I just didn't know how to react.
Yeah,
and it was clearly exciting. Then I was like, oh, okay, great, fantastic, and everything. But then I remember having that fear because it was my first video. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna be like a one-hit wonder. You know, like those creators, like they just have like very like low views, but then you have one video that has like 5 million, and then. Yeah. So I was like, I need to like start working like a crazy person to make sure that like, you know, that I can retain that. And that was a good thing and a bad thing because it made me work my ass off and like that's great, but bad because I was so afraid to become like obsessed with numbers, which I think like as YouTubers, it's very hard not to get obsessed with numbers.
That bloody YouTube studio.
Yeah.
We talk about this all the time, but just to reiterate, there's this ranking you get. It tells you how well it's done compared to your past 10 videos. And like when you get 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, it's brutal. Yeah, you just feel shitty. I've actually been really good with that. I almost never look at my YouTube studio now. Yeah, it's probably best not to. Yeah. I just avoid it. And, but you know, I think I'm doing okay. Do you read comments? Not as much as I used to. The reason why is because at first I used to like read every comment. Some videos I've read probably over 2,000 comments on. Like I would be so like eager to see people's opinions, whether it's about the show I'm talking about or about the way I handle my video. And I loved doing that for a very long time. And then I made a video about Fleabag. And that changed drastically. Right, okay. Basically, I made this video about the show Fleabag. If you don't know, this is an Amazon Prime show, I'm pretty sure, that was made by Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who is an absolute genius. And I didn't expect the fandom of this show to be toxic. Like I'll expect that from like Marvel fans or Star Wars fans because it's just so massive and people have such strong opinions and everything. And in the grand scheme of things, Fleabag is relatively niche. Like, don't get me wrong, it's very successful, but as you say, it's not something really mainstream like Marvel or Star Wars. So yeah, no, it's very normal. Like it's not like a. It's not like this larger than life property that has existed since the 70s and or even longer than that. And but just for context, it was based on like a one-woman show that she did at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. Yes. And it's like, so that was like a monologue telling a story about her life. And so the TV show is based on that. So yeah, it's British and it's kind of just about a woman who's kind of I don't want to diagnose, but there's something up with her. She's down bad. Yeah, she's a mess. Yeah, but stylistically, it was very like groundbreaking. Like it was very meta. Like she would look in the camera, and it was like the comedy, and it was just very. And I think it was also kind of the start of like one of the biggest examples of like a female protagonist who was really unlikable, and that was really cool. Unlikable yet attaching. Yes. Like you can't help but get attached to her because it's a show that I think, in case you haven't noticed, we love it. Highly recommend watching Fleabag. It is a 10 out of 10 show. But and you never find out her name. Her name's just you don't actually ever find out. You don't find out what her name is. People just call her Fleabag, but even in the show, nobody ever calls her Fleabag. Yeah, you don't. Yeah. You just never get a name, which I think is cool. That makes it really interesting. That makes it very interesting. But she's so attaching because it's a show that is very much about like just the general flaws of being human. Like she's not a great person, but she's also not a bad person. She doesn't mean harm on anybody, but she's
she has flaws and she can get over them, and she has a tendency to kind of self-sabotage like her entire life. And you learn certain things about her. Season 1 has a fantastic twist that I did not see coming. And that kind of like, it kind of rocks your world. You're just like, yo.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
And so I decided to make a video about this show because, again, it's not the most popular of shows. And I was like, it's cool if I get to at least get one person to watch it that they've never heard about it. And I made this video where I'm like in love with the show. It is literally 30 minutes of me praising the hell out of it. But for some reason, even before the video came out, when I just announced on Instagram that I was doing it, I started getting messages from fans of the show. And I guess that like the general consensus is this show was made by a woman for women. You don't get to enjoy it because you're not a woman. And I didn't really know how to take it. I didn't really know how to take it because I don't want to like be trespassing onto a space that wasn't meant for me. But at the same time, I just think that it's a very beautiful show that I think says so much about just being human in a modern world. And I'm pretty sure that Phoebe Waller-Bridge herself said that this is a show that is made for everyone. And I think that's important, but I think there's like a niche. I don't want to say that it's every fan of the show because I think that's widely inaccurate, but there's like a part of this fandom that is very gatekeepy, and they were really not okay with the idea of a man talking about this show, regardless of my opinion. So if I love it, it doesn't matter. If I hate it, it doesn't matter. It's really like, you're a guy, you don't get to like. And in my video, I read an actual message that I get. I had like a voice actress read it for me, which is because it was a very aggressive message. It was really like, I am so sick and tired of straight men taking what isn't theirs. And I was like, I just watched that one show. Like, I'm not trying to hurt anybody, I swear. And some of the comments on the video, the majority of them were really nice. Like, people were vibing with the video and everything. And I did get some people to watch the show, which makes me so happy. Because I think it's a show that everybody should watch genuinely. But some of the comments were very negative, kind of the same energy. And some of them were just not necessarily mean, but just excessively condescending because I didn't have the exact same opinion. So of everything I had to say about the show, I think the one thing that I was critical of, so the character Fleabag, if you don't know, breaks the fourth wall quite a lot. She talks to the camera all the time. And in season 2, the show is just 2 seasons. In season 2, minor spoiler, but there's a new character that comes in that is able to tell when she's breaking the fourth wall.
Yes.
Right? And I explained that the first time I watched the show, I didn't really like that.
Yes.
Right? I've since rewatched the show and I realized that I love it. And I explained that, like, I know why it's there. I understand why it's there. It's meant to show their genuine connection. Like, he's truly seeing her for who she is. And so he's able to tell that something is off with her when she turns to talk to the camera, which is a brilliant concept. The first time it didn't land with me, and I said that in a video. And then I just got some messages. I was like, I cannot for the life of me understand how it didn't work for you. And then proceeds to explain to me why it's there as if I didn't already say it in the video. And I'm just like, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's not rocket science. I got it. It's not. It's really this thing where it's like, you can't understand the show the way I do because it wasn't made for you type energy. And I was just like, okay. And I don't know why. Like, it rubbed me the wrong way. And it's the first time that, like, I didn't enjoy the experience of releasing a video. Like, I hate that video now. I don't want to watch it. It's just kind of soured it. Like, the amalgamation of everything. And since that, I've been reading comments way less.
Yes, that's quite smart, I think. I mean, just to go back to that, because I'm someone who talks about gender a lot. And I know some people who see this are going to call me a pick-me, but I hate that take. The take of, you shouldn't talk about this because you're a dude and this is made for women. I hate that take. And there's a few reasons for it. One, if we as women want to be more visible and, like, have more representation and that kind of thing, we want the general population to watch our stuff. It's not enough that women just watch our stuff. Like, and also, secondly, like you said, Phoebe Waller-Bridge wants like this show to be for everyone.
Yeah.
If we see content made by women as like just women's content, which some of it is, some women like are explicitly saying like this is just for women. That's cool. That's fine.
And that is 100% okay.
That's not the case for everyone. Some women are making art and they want to be seen as artists. And yes, being a woman is part of who they are, but they don't want that to be everything. And like, I don't know, it's kind of saying this is women's show, and then the default is like men's show. And it's like reinforcing that.
That's a problem that I have with a lot of things. Like they'll say like, oh, well, you know, this like Wonder Woman is great because it's for women as well. And like they'll say, but like the Avengers is a dude thing. And I'm just like, I feel like Marvel movies are for everybody. That's why they're so successful, because anyone can sit down and watch Tony Stark punch someone and love it. You know what I mean? Like it's the same with Star Wars. Like Star Wars is for everybody. People say, no, it's for dudes and everything. I'm like, what do you mean? We just had $1 billion trilogy where the main characters are a woman and a black guy. Like, it's made for everybody. It's not just a guy thing just because there's action and lightsabers. You can enjoy Star Wars regardless of who you are and where you came from, right?
Yeah.
And I think that, like, this vision about Fleabag and, like, the gatekeeping of, like, now this is a show for us and it wasn't made for you, therefore you are not allowed to have an opinion on it or to even enjoy it. It's a tough position to be in because I love, like, shows that are made by women, and I love shows that are made with like cool, intricate female characters, because admittedly we've had a lot of shows where female characters are just relegated to being a love interest and everything. So like I love to bring that to light. Like I just made a video on the Netflix show Dead to Me, which is a fantastic show that was made by a woman, and it's about two women and a very interesting mystery kind of, and it's so cool, and thankfully the energy on that was great. That was amazing. But like it's a tough position to be in because I feel like if I don't talk about media that was made by women, people are going to say that I'm like sexist and avoiding it.
Yes.
But at the same time, with the things like Fleabag, when I do talk about media made by women, I'm being told to shut the fuck up because it wasn't made for me. And it's a tough position to be in, but like I always choose to talk about it. You know what I mean? I think even if I had gotten all this backlash from the video before I released it, I still would have released a video because I do think that Fleabag is a show that is important to talk about. I think that like it is one of the best shows that we've had in our time, and it's very precious. And I think that a lot of people should like experience that because it says so much about people, regardless of gender, sexual orientation, no matter what it is. It just says so much about people, and I think that's like very meaningful.
Essential viewing, basically.
Absolutely, 100%. Everybody should watch Fleabag. It is amazing. But yeah, I just think that we need to be more open about things being, you know, like everybody should be able to enjoy any piece of media. Like it is such an important thing. And you know, even a show like Riverdale, right? I'm done with Riverdale. I have not watched the show since I made my video, which makes sense. But like, I also understand why some people do watch Riverdale and enjoy it because they're just like, just turn off your brain and just enjoy the stupidity of it. And like, if you watch it through this lens, it's funny as hell. Like you're gonna have a great time. Like I feel like that's how I am with the Fast and Furious movies. They're so dumb. Like they're not like, it's not like cinema, you know what I mean? It's just stupid stuff. But I check my brain in when I go into the theater, and I just enjoy the stupidity of it. Even though the last one really sucked, I can't defend that one.
Me with Pretty Little Lies as well.
I watched all 7 seasons of Pretty Little Lies.
Pretty Little Lies.
Yeah,
fucking fantastic.
It's just like, but it's so dumb and it's so terribly written.
Oh, it's so bad. Gorgeously bad.
Yeah, gorgeously bad. That's a great way to put it. Yeah, and I just think it's important. And like that Fleabag video, yeah, I just don't. There was such an energy around this video where I was just like if every video was like that, I don't think I'd stay on YouTube.
Right. Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's really. my general consensus is that I want men to support women's art and talk about it.
Super
But if they
important.
if they talk about it in a way that is sexist, hopefully their audience can call them out on it. And if they are well intentioned and in good faith, they will take that criticism on board and be like, oh, okay, I will do better next time. I will.
Absolutely. Every media is worthy of criticism.
Yeah.
Like Fleabag is a nearly perfect show, but there are a couple things here and there where I was like, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and that's totally okay, and it makes sense. You know,
yeah.
The things that I love the most, I'm hypercritical of. You know, so it's like I'm a huge fan of Harry Potter, which I know that like we don't talk about.
Yeah.
But Harry Potter is super flawed. Like there's so many things about Harry Potter that just don't quite work, and that's okay. And I think we should be able to have that same level of criticism for everything. Like I don't think that just because Fleabag was made by a woman, we have to be like it is perfect, flawless, everything about it exists on the plane of yeah, exactly. I just think that we have to be able to be critical of things, but at the same time, like you said, it's very important that like dudes find a way to like enjoy like media made by women in a more like in a broader way, because it would suck if like women were to make incredible media like this and that we just kind of like put it in a box
and
and like
half the population.
Exactly. It's like this is for the girlies, we don't care. That sucks.
Whereas like
so
men's or like you know the rest of content gets to be watched by everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, how is that fair?
Yeah, it's everything is for everyone except if it was made for a woman. That we just put it in a box and just forget about it. Pretend like it's not there.
Yeah, don't want that. Yeah, exactly. No, I feel you on that. I mean, I also. Pardon me.
Are you okay?
Just sleepy. Just a sleepy girl. No, I have this rule where I stop reading comments after 24 hours. I only check them for the first day or so.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Because, you know, they're the people that are invested in your work. So any criticism I get within those 24 hours is usually in good faith. You know?
Right, that makes sense.
So all that. But, you know, even then, comments are tough, you know?
Yeah, they can be rough.
They can be rough. Yeah, if you really want to fuck up your day, I feel like D'Angelo Wallace said this once, but if you really want to fuck up your day, get your comments and sort by newest first.
Yep. That is
mess with your mental health.
That is absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
I've done it a few times. Sometimes I'll still do it. And then I close the app and I'm just like, I'm going to just eat chocolate and not move for the rest of the day.
Literally.
Yeah, it can be pretty rough.
It's brutal. So, but speaking of brutal, something we're going to talk about today, because I think we talk about this a lot in our conversations.
Yes.
Because we're friends and that's what friends do.
We talk almost every day. And
yeah,
80% of our conversations are like dating.
Is about dating.
Absolutely.
There are some things I obviously won't share on here that I have shared recently. So you've got some context, some subtext. So,
there's a lot of chaos in your dating life.
It's a little chaotic. But
we stand. Listen,
listen,
can make a show out of it.
I'm a girly, just trying to navigate the world. You know,
that's so funny,
Becky. But yeah, so dating. You're set. You're pretty settled now. So
yes,
that's
I'm
good.
in a relationship.
A
relationship that had a bit of a, you know, it had like a trajectory to get there.
Okay.
You know, it was a, but it's great. It's fantastic. I'm so happy. She's the coolest person. But yeah, I met this person on Bumble. We all know the dating apps.
Yes.
I met this person on Bumble, and we like kind of hit it off, and we decided to meet. And then, as I told you earlier, we had our first date, and it was perfectly fine, you know. And she immediately friend-zoned me right after. Which is so funny, which you and I have had conversations about how frustrating first dates are.
Yes.
I have such strong opinions about first dates and the way we kind of perceive dating. I think Hollywood has completely destroyed the way we view dating.
Okay.
And I think that a lot of people have very unrealistic expectations when it comes to how a first date should go. And I do think that that's a lot due to Hollywood.
Oh,
I think so. Because I think, and here's my theory, okay? I think that Hollywood has romanticized the idea of instant love.
Yeah.
Like the way people think that they need to meet the first time and everything has to click immediately, which I think is such an unrealistic expectation on a human level. Like, in my opinion, the biggest lie that Hollywood has sold us around dating is this idea of instant chemistry. And I think it's bullshit. You don't have chemistry with someone. You build chemistry with someone.
Okay.
You need to allow... I'm not saying that you can't meet someone and just have a great rapport from the start, but like to build a certain level of chemistry and intimacy that will kind of like get you to be like, oh, I'm going to be in a relationship with this person. I think it takes time. It's so hard to achieve that the first time you meet somebody. But I feel like we're in a place right now where, the first date is like the end all be all. It's like, it's now or never.
Right off, yeah.
You know? And I feel like a lot of people that I know who are in relationships, the first date was just sort of okay, or like it was fine. But then that's what dating is for, is to see where that goes, right? Especially if you, like, I have friends now who will come back from a first date and they're like, oh, it's just not going to happen. But like they had a good time and they liked the person. But because there wasn't this instant spark, they're just like, oh, it's probably just not going to happen. You know, and, you know, with my girlfriend, that's kind of what transpired. We had our first date and it was fine. We had a good time together. And then she went home from the date and immediately friend-zoned me. And I was fine with it because for me, it's so hard to tell how I feel specifically about someone after meeting them once.
Right. Yeah. You weren't as invested.
Yeah, exactly. So I was just like, okay, then I made a friend. Yeah, amazing. And then we kept seeing each other as friends for like a minute. And it's over time that our relationship changed. And we reached a point where we both very much realized, oh, this is not platonic at all. And, you know, I think both of us knew it, but we didn't say it for like a minute. You could tell. And also like everyone who has seen us together, every time that like we would hang out with other people, afterwards I would get texts like, okay, what's the deal with you and her? They're like, I can't figure it out. Like there's something there. You guys just have an energy and I can't figure it out. And I'm just like, oh no, I don't have an answer for you. But then what ended up happening is she went to California for like 3 days to visit her best friend. And I don't know what it is, but her leaving to California was kind of a confirmation to both of us that our feelings for each other were not platonic.
Really?
I don't know why specifically. And we talked about it like a few days ago, but I can't explain what it is about her leaving, because at that point we were together almost every day, like several times a week. And like we were clearly more than friends, but we just didn't go there. I think on my part, it's mostly because it's very difficult for me to get to the place where I'm like, I want to build a relationship with someone. But it's also the fact that since she had friend zoned me, I was like, then I'm not going to.
Yeah, you don't want to cross that boundary.
You don't want to be that guy. You know what I mean? Yeah, there was a boundary
she
there.
She said what she said.
Yeah, exactly. Boundaries. And so we didn't say anything. But then the night before she left, we went like to a restaurant and had some drinks and everything. And like that was the first time that we weren't together since our first date that felt like a date. This did not feel like hanging out as friends. And then I remember she left to go to her place because she was leaving very early the next day. And she texted me like, I think I'm going to miss you when I'll be gone. And I was like, me too, but I didn't want to say it, even though she was leaving for like 3 days. Like, it's fine, you know, but we genuinely missed each other. And then we were texting the whole time she was there. And then the night before she came back to Montreal, she texted me, hey, I'm like very excited to see you when I come back. But she was like, but what if we saw each other like as a date? And I was like, bitch, what you mean? What you mean? And obviously I was like, yes. And then I saw her the next day when she came back. And yeah, then we we kissed. That was like our first kiss. And then we knew, okay, this is not platonic at all. But then what ended up happening is once we opened that door, knowing that it wasn't platonic, things got very intense very fast. And it kind of freaked us out, like the both of us. We both kind of were like, whoa, like we knew this wasn't platonic, but this is super not platonic. You know what I mean? And we kind of freaked out, especially when like, you know, when sex got involved and things happened. So eventually we had a talk, and that's so funny to me now. We had a talk. Basically, we both had things on our mind and we didn't know where we were at. And so we were like, okay, let's just sit down and have like a very open talk about our relationship and what we think, because it was so unusual. So I go to her place and we literally sat down and had this very, like, this wasn't a 15-minute thing. We sat down and had this super open, like vulnerable like talk about our feelings and our relationship for like 2 hours. Okay. We talked and we were like, we don't know if we're ready to be in a relationship, because we were both coming out of like very long-term relationships that very much changed us as people. And we weren't sure if we wanted that. And so we agreed, okay, we still want to be around each other all the time, but we don't want to complicate things. So like no more sex. Right. That was like the bottom line. We're like, we can't be physical anymore. We just have to like, because we wanted to be around each other. So we said that. That lasted 6 days.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah. That lasted like 6 days, a week at most. And then we completely destroyed that rule. And things then just kind of escalated. And after a while, we had like a conversation where we were like, I think I want this to be like a thing. I don't want this to be. And then she was like, yeah, me too. And here we are.
Yay.
Yeah.
We love that. We love that. You know, that's the thing. It's the idea that like getting into a relationship should be seamless and that kind of thing, you know. And
yeah.
it,
Not always
it
realistic.
Can be complicated because, you know, people often say like, oh, you know, there shouldn't be any drama at the beginning. But I don't know. I think I've had, you know, like a long-term relationship where it was quite tricky at the start, but then throughout for the rest of the relationship, it was very stable, loving. You know, it was just like we just met at a time where we were both like not in the best place.
Yeah, exactly. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and that happens. And like I think it, like what you say, it's this whole idea that things have got to instantly be easy. But then on the flip side, I suppose there's also this. So you don't want to like waste people's time as well.
Oh, 100%.
So it's really hard
There's
to gauge.
There's a middle ground somewhere there.
There is.
Yeah.
It's hard to work it out sometimes.
But yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Like it's okay for things to have a progression. You can allow that sometimes. It's great. And I feel like actually our relationship is so much better because we've had this longer progression full of plot twists. Like it's been... I don't even know how to describe it specifically, but I feel like it added a lot to the way we built our chemistry because we didn't have the end goal of a relationship in mind, right? But at the same time, like I'm very, like it's great that we continue to see each other because imagine there's like a parallel universe where we had that one date and it didn't click perfectly. So she was like, okay, well, we're not going to see each other again. And then we miss out on like the amazing and incredibly beautiful relationship we have now.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just like the early stages of dating are so tricky. And like, I don't feel like the progression of our relationship was necessarily chaotic. It was definitely eventful, but like it never felt toxic. It never felt, exactly, it was just, and on the contrary, even though we were very complicated, when we were together, everything felt very easy and smooth, you know, but yeah, dating is just very tricky now. And I think, I mean, if people don't know, I have a podcast with our friends, Amanda the Jedi and Broe Deschanel and Bruno the Commander. And we did an episode that was specifically about dating advice. So people would like...
that episode so much.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. We're doing like 3 of them next season. And since then, sometimes people ask me questions and if they need dating advice and everything. And around Valentine's Day, somebody sent me a message where it was this young woman and she was like, hey, like I'm 25 years old and I'm, you know, happy Valentine's Day, blah, blah, blah. I'm going on a first date tomorrow with someone that I really, really like. But I'm like super terrified because you're afraid to be awkward and everything. And the more I get messages like that, the more I realize people feel so incredibly nervous on first dates because they feel like if they do the slightest little thing off, it would lead to immediate rejection.
Yep.
And I think it completely bleeds into this idea of like we have matrixed our brains into thinking that the first date has to be perfect, and it is the most
and you have to be on your absolute best behavior.
You have to be so fucking cool. You have to be like suave. You can't mess up a sentence. You can't do anything that feels even a tiny bit out of pocket. And so we've developed this weird culture where a first date is where you're like the fakest version of yourself.
Yes.
And it feels very unpleasant. Like it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre. I mean, I know you've had experiences with first dates that come with plot twists afterwards.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I've had this so much where like I'm on a date and then after I'm like, why did I say that?
Yeah.
Why did I say that? Like, I don't know. And then I just dwell on it for ages, and just it's not a fun state of mind to be in.
Do you get nervous before a first date?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I get more nervous when it's someone I'm like more excited to meet. So if I've spoken to them a lot before, because then there's this like added pressure, because it's like talking to someone and you feel this like, oh yeah,
this energy,
and then you're like, what if it doesn't,
translate?
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That, oh, excuse me, sorry. That can happen, like where you just talk loads in messages and then when you meet and you're like, you freeze up.
Yeah, it just doesn't hit the same.
Yeah, and so with those kinds of ones I get nervous. Whereas if it's someone I haven't spoken to as much, I feel less invested and less nervous, because I'm like, it is what it is.
So the more invested you are, the more nervous.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's all these expectations. Because like I'll feel sad if it doesn't, if we don't have that,
Yeah, because again, this idea of not being able to be yourself makes it so much more stressful.
Exactly.
And I think, but also, because I had this conversation a few months ago with my girlfriend, but her opinion was like, well, but if you're like too much yourself and then you get rejected after the first date, that hurts your ego more, right? Because you were being you. And I was like, but I think I'd rather that than being rejected for a version of me that's not really me. Because then I feel like you've maybe missed out on. But if I had been more able to be myself, because I'm not freaked out of being judged for every single thing. Yeah, it's just, I think the way we view first dates is all fucked. Like it makes no sense to me at all. And it's nerve-wracking to people. Like I see so many people going on first dates, and I get so many messages from people going on first dates. They absolutely do not enjoy it. No. It's just fear and like pressure, and like they have no idea how to handle it. And I'm just like, that's like literally the opposite of the circumstances you want to be in when you first meet someone that like you have a connection with. It's just very strange.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, this is the thing. Like, God, dating is freaking.
I need support.
Yeah, it's just what are your opinions on the apps? Which are better or worse? Obviously, you met your current partner on Bumble.
Bumble, Bumble is the only one I used. I was on Tinder for all of 3 weeks, and I was like, I need to get the fuck out of here.
What was it about it that made you want to yeet out?
I don't know what it is. It just feels so rough compared to the others.
It is.
Yeah, 100%.
I can confirm.
Like I said earlier, there's something about it that feels wrong. Like when you're on it,
icky.
And I feel like that might be inaccurate, but from the experience I've had, like I feel like Tinder is way more about hooking up than it is actual dating. It's more like you want to find somebody to just have sex with. Yeah. And that's just kind of what it is. I've never really used others. I've only ever been on Bumble and Tinder. But I've heard Hinge is great, because Hinge is the one that is marketed as like, this is the place where you go to find like a long-term relationship, right? But I don't know. What are your opinions?
Well, so I found Bumble the most wholesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think, but I probably like Bumble the most because the prompts and stuff. As I mentioned to Dylan earlier, I have a lifetime ban from Hinge.
Yeah. That is still the funniest thing I've heard all day. Oh, favorite anecdote.
Because literally, I have a friend all the time who's like, oh, if you want to meet women, Tara, just go on Hinge. Hinge is great for the gays. And I'm like, I can't because I'm banned. And before people ask, like, what did you do? I don't fucking know what I did, Hinge. Like, I was on it for about 3 hours. I didn't have any matches. I just swiped a bit, didn't do any messaging. And then I, like, deleted the app and re-downloaded it. And then, like, a few days later, and they were like, yeah, you have a lifetime ban. Your account has been suspended.
You know your dating life is chaotic
I
if
know.
you've been banned from a dating app.
Yeah,
That's
literally.
so funny.
And
to
I don't
me.
know what I did. Like, someone suggested the other night that maybe someone used my pictures and they thought I
That
was
would make
fake.
sense. That would make sense.
But
They think that you're a catfish.
yeah,
that would make sense.
Which I guess, but I'm like, Hinge, come on, give me a chance. I want
Hinge.
yeah,
Let's squash the beef,
yeah.
okay?
Come on.
Don't make us drop a diss track.
I swear, like Cody Ko had a video once sponsored by Hinge. So maybe if I just say like, "Hey, could you sponsor me?" and fucking unban me,
That'd be
Listen,
amazing.
Hinge, I swear, I'm in it for the right reasons. I just want to find my wife.
Think wife specifically. But think of the ad you could get, the anecdote that could come with that.
Yeah.
They also have great customer service because
Yeah.
then one time they banned me for no reason.
Yeah, and then they unbanned me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm on Bumble and I'm on Tinder, and for ages, in case people don't know, I'm bisexual, pansexual, whatever the word is. I don't mind.
Wait, can we talk about how I thought you were gay for like a really long
Yeah,
time?
talk about that. Yeah, talk about that.
Like,
Oh
okay.
yeah, because we were messaging about dating, and then
Yeah,
you were just
exactly.
like, "Wait, you're not gay?" Yeah, go on.
Oh, I want to punch myself. This is so fucking funny and embarrassing. Like, basically, yeah, so you have to know, like, Tara and I talk almost every day, and we're often talking about our dating lives. And for some reason, I still don't know. I think it was like a Mandela effect.
Yeah.
I have a memory of you saying you're gay, and I had no idea where it comes from, if it's like from a video or something, and I'm pretty sure it's not even real. That never happened. So I thought you were gay for like a really long time, and then we were having a conversation about, I think you were about to go on a date that ended up being canceled, right?
Yes.
And I was being like, yo, it's gonna be fucking great, let me know how it goes and everything. And then the next day you're like, never mind, he canceled.
He cancelled.
And then I go, girl, what you mean he? And you were like, yeah, it's a guy. And I was like, Mooney, why did I think you were gay? And you were like, I'm bi. And I was like, like broke my brain. I was like, yo, okay. I think I said like, let me go on YouTube, just make sure that ContraPoints is actually trans. Like, that I didn't make that up in my head as well. So weird, such a weird thing. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I think in the comments a lot, I get called like a lesbian a lot, and I don't correct people because I'm like, I don't mind if people think I'm a lesbian because I like women. So it's like, and gay, and some like bi girls do say they call themselves gay as like an adjective as opposed to, you know. And sometimes I'll say that, like, you know, I'll be like, oh, that's so gay of me, you know, like that kind of thing. Like my outfit today is very gay. And it's always a positive.
Oh, yeah, of
yeah,
course.
not in like a, that's so gay. No, in a like, I look fucking gay. I look good.
So fucking gay, dude.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm attracted to all, you know, like people, non-binary, whatever, you know, that kind of thing.
Everyone is hot to you.
Yes.
We stand.
We stand, exactly. So I have the pleasure of being rejected by all.
Just double the chances of rejection.
Triple, quadruple.
The reality
all
of
the
being
gender
bisexual.
identities. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so for ages on Tinder, I just had it set to women because on my first while there, when I had it set to men as well, the men on Tinder are just, they're just...
It's rough. I'm so happy that I don't date men.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
They're just out of control. And listen, I am not, you know, anti-casual sex. I think it's cool. Like, you do you, boo. But for me personally, if I'm going to hook up with someone, I need to check that, like, we vibe a bit. You know?
Little bit of a connection.
Yeah. Like, we need to have a bit of banter and they need to not be a Tory. Right?
Yeah, it's just, Tinder is just too horny.
Yeah, it's too horny.
And like, listen, I vibe with horny.
Yeah.
Horny is great.
Yeah.
But there is such a thing as too horny. horny, my guy.
Exactly. So, like the other day, I got a message from a guy like, "Hey, do you want to come over and watch Peep Show?" And it was like a Saturday night, and I was like, "Of course, I have plans, my guy." Like, and also, Peep Show is not a sexy show. Yeah. But I would just get messages from guys straight away being like, "Oh, do you want to come over right now?" And I'm like, "You could be a murderer."
It's like the
I need
least
to
safe
meet
thing,
you in a public place, check you're not a murderer, and then we can go from there. Yeah, right. So then I set it to just women, and what happened most of the time is that like it's really hard to get women on a date. And as a girl, I know I'm a girl too, but like girls never message first.
I know,
it's very frustrating.
Yeah. Well, when you are talking to guys, do you ask guys out or do you wait to be asked out?
Most of the time they will do the asking out first. It's not like I'm actively waiting for them to do it, but most of the time they're quite straight to it.
Right, yeah.
But I have asked guys out before.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. My girlfriend currently is one of the only girls I've been with who asked me out.
Right.
Yeah, which I think it's genuinely like, especially if you're the type of person, and I said this to a friend recently. There was a friend of mine, a girl, who was like, I'm going on a date. I'd like to do like something different, like memorable. What do I do? And I was like, you take him out. Like you treat him to a night out. I swear to God, chances are, even if it doesn't work out, he will never forget you because that just doesn't happen. Yeah. And I think that's fucking great. But yeah, please continue.
No, well, yeah. So I had it set just to women. And I thought that, you know, maybe that would get me more luck. But honestly, like, girlies on Tinder didn't respond either.
Yeah.
Or like we'd message once or twice and I'd be like, hey, do you want to go out? And they'd be like, yeah. And then it would just never come to fruition, that kind of thing. One of my first days on Tinder, and I'm really sorry, the person probably doesn't know who I am, so I'll protect their identity.
And if you do, R.I.P.
Yeah. Basically, I don't want to kink shame, but I detest feet. I'm not a fan of feet. And this is why you shouldn't be so bloody horny and you should check someone's kinks before you message them all kinky.
Yeah.
So someone messaged me at like 4 a.m. And this was a woman, not a man. Okay. And they were like, hey, are you up? And I was like, yeah, because at the time I had like, I was still dealing with like my sleeping pattern being really rough. From
COVID, right. Still there. Yeah.
To be honest.
Because I think it both happened because we both had COVID.
Yep, exactly.
And it fucked up our sleep schedule.
Exactly. Yeah. And she was like, oh, do you want to come over and rub my feet? And I was like, we didn't even talk. Hilarious. No hello, no how are you? It was just that. And I was just like, this is why you should chat first, because if you'd have bothered to chat to me, you would know that I hate feet and that I am anti, I don't kink shame, but I feet shame. And right, okay.
Hashtag it.
Yeah, and you should, if you'd have bothered to ask, then it would have been fine, right?
Yeah, I just think I think sometimes, especially when it comes to dating, and you could attest to that, communicating with girls can be very complex. Oftentimes for no reason as well. Yeah, it can be very difficult. But like, I can't imagine, like, the girl dynamic can be already complicated enough. And I think that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't talk about. I know a lot of girls that when they discover like they may not be straight, they get so excited because they're like, oh my God, I never have to date a man again. Everything is going to be so simple. And then they realize, oh no, it's not. Yeah, it's not. I think, so I have an ex who before me was like in a super abusive relationship, right? Because she came out as pansexual and she was like, oh my God, dating girls is going to be the most awesome thing in my life. Like she was like, I never have to date a guy again. She was so into it. She was so excited. And then she walked into a relationship with a girl that was extremely abusive and she was stuck in that for 3 years. And then she came out of that like, oh, this is a people problem.
Yeah,
it's not exactly. It's everyone has the potential of being toxic and a horrible partner. And
exactly. I would like to hear your thoughts actually on ghosting. So in terms of like how evil is it? Because some people are really like, ghosting is so rude, it's terrible. And then sometimes So here's my opinion in terms of a first date. If you have a first date where you two really don't vibe and it's kind of mutual and neither of you message each other, I feel like that's kind of an ideal scenario where you don't have to reject.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's not ghosting, is it?
I don't think that counts as ghosting.
No.
I think ghosting is when you're actively not responding to someone trying to communicate with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have a first date with the person and then you didn't vibe, but then the person texts you to say either, oh, I had a great day or whatever it is, or asking you out on it, and you just don't respond. That's ghosting, and that's kind of a dick move.
Mm-hmm.
I think just have the balls to say, hey, this is not working out for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think that like if it's before you've ever even met and you're just not down to talk, I think it's still kind of rude, but it's not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have you heard what happened with that West Elm Caleb guy?
Oh yes, I love that situation. Do you want to recap for the kid?
I'll let you do the recap because I'm sure you'll be way more articulate than I can with it.
So West Elm Caleb, set the scene. We've got a man on Hinge. He's a Hinge man. He's called Caleb. He's 6'4". He's got a moustache. Bit of me, not gonna lie. Okay, hot take. I'd fuck West Elm Caleb. Caleb, if you're watching.
Caleb, my guy. If you come here in London, I'll come back for the podcast.
I hear you're a fuck boy. I'm trying to be a fuck girl, so we can arrange something.
Everybody in their hoe era.
Yeah, literally. I've got a thing for moustaches.
Really?
Yeah.
You should have lived in the 80s.
Yeah.
You would have been
rich. But it's become a trend. It's become a trend.
Oh, it's coming back? The stash is coming back?
Yeah, it really is.
I can't rock a stash. It just doesn't suit me.
That's fair. No, I've got a thing for stashes. But anyway, so he's on there. He's playing the field a bit, dating all the girlies. And on TikTok, a girlie shares her experience dating a man called Caleb who works for West Elm. And then some other girlies pop up and they say, hold on a second, I matched with this guy too. Wait a second, he's sending us all the same playlists. And like, so he'll send a playlist to a girl being like, I made this just for you. And it turns out he's made it for multiple people, which, you know, is manipulative. It's not great behavior. It's not ideal. It's not, but...
He's not Voldemort. Like
it got out of hand. It got really out of hand. It really like blew up. It just it got unnecessarily heated.
They doxed him.
They doxed him. They you know, and it just became this trend on TikTok where they'd be like, oh my god, this guy, he would like love bomb people, and it's like, did he really love bomb, or was he just flirting?
No, like giving you a compliment. It like people. It's the same way that people are with the term gaslighting.
Yeah.
Like love bombing is a very specific manipulation tactic. And people, just because he gave you a compliment once or twice and then I don't know, didn't, because I think when they say love bombing, it's just because he said nice things.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's love bombing me. It's like, that's not what love bombing is. Same with gaslighting. This term doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah, right. So he would like talk to girls and they would say that sometimes he would talk to them for a while and then just stop replying, or they'd go on a date and he'd stop replying.
Yeah.
Which, you know, again, I can see the argument for why, you know, that is like a bit rude.
It's a dick move.
Yeah, it's
a dick move, but it's not like, it's not like they talk about it like this guy is such an evil, toxic man. He became
this weird icon, didn't he?
Yeah. But like this, he became like the Voldemort of TikTok for like a while, and everybody was kind of bagging on him, and they doxed him, they bullied the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and the thing is, like, anyone that tried to say something about how this got out of hand, it would be like, oh, you just say that because, like, you're anti-women or, like, you hate girls. And I'm just like...
Or women who did, they would be called pick-me's. They'd be like, hey, listen, this is really...
The women got it even worse.
Yeah.
Like, if any woman tried to be like, hey, like, this West Elm Caleb shit is getting very out of control, yeah, they would be called pick-me's and, like, would get insulted and say that... they don't support other women. It's like here we're like women who support the women, and it's like, yeah, but also like
this is toxic.
This guy's getting death threats.
Yeah,
this guy
is so out of hand.
Yeah, just because he didn't message you after a date, which is dick move. But like, I'm sorry, not the end of the world. Like it's happened to me as well.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Fine.
There was this one TikTok with a girl who was like, oh, he was with me in the morning, and then later that day he went on a date with a girl the same day, and it was certain things where I'm like, wait, what's actually wrong with that? Am I?
No, he didn't do anything wrong. It's
Like
just,
if he works 9 to 5, his weekends he's got to cram them all in, right?
yeah, exactly. You're not exclusive.
No.
He doesn't have any obligation because you guys had a date.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
It's like if you want that, then maybe have a conversation with him
Yeah.
about that. But you can't
Expect it off the book.
Yeah, exactly. There's like this weird thing where it's like anything he does, they would spin it to make it seem toxic when really
Yeah.
maybe he didn't have the best behavior, but he didn't do anything fundamentally wrong.
Right.
And I just thought that was very strange. I don't know how we got on that topic, but
Yeah, just because it's like, I think, really indicative of dating. And I think there was like a flip side of it where on Twitter there were like corners who were very vehemently defending him.
yeah.
And I think there were some people that just didn't want to see the grey. So on the flip side, there were people being like, oh, these girls complaining about him ghosting them, like, welcome to dating.
Mhm.
And it's like, we can try and be better. We can try and be more responsive and be more upfront.
Yeah.
And like, we shouldn't encourage ghosting.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
You know, and unfortunately, I will confess, I have ghosted, and I've recently done an accidental ghost where
no.
I actually did want to see the person again, but I got so busy that I took forever to respond, and then like begged for their forgiveness, and then they responded, and then I got really stressed and had bad mental health week and didn't respond for ages, and then I got too embarrassed.
That's kind of funny.
And now I'm too embarrassed to message them to beg for them back because I'm like, I can't. Now this just looks really bad.
Yeah, it's been too long
So
now for it.
if that person's listening,
she's really sorry.
I actually thought you were really cute and great, but I just are bad with messaging.
She fucked up.
Yeah, so it's really bad. So this is what I'm talking about, self-sabotage.
Listen, I'll admit to it. I've ghosted one person in my life. I was like 19.
Yeah.
It was this girl that I met at a party, and we kind of hooked up, and then we started texting. And in the midst of that, like several weeks later, I got into a relationship with someone else. And then like literally a couple days later, she asked me to go out for lunch, and I just didn't respond. I don't know why I panicked. I felt weird, but I was like 18, 19, and I haven't.
Maturity thing.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't ghosted anyone since, but like I've been ghosted.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on how far you are, like if you ghost me after a first date, I don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. It's like, okay, whatever. I get why, but I think that's the thing. And I think that's the whole thing about the West Elm Caleb situation. There's way too much ego in dating now.
Oh, yeah.
They
take it very personally.
People cannot handle rejection.
Mm-hmm.
They can't do it. And it's so rough. Like sometimes I'll see like TikToks where it's like a girl who's going to be like, I went on a date with this guy, and like then he wanted to like leave it at that, and they will rant about him and like just be so fucking angry when it's just like he didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah,
he was honest about his feelings.
Didn't want to waste your time.
Yeah, exactly. He was honest about his feelings. You guys went on a date, and like he just felt like it didn't click. So he let you know that it didn't click for him, and that he'd
that would
rather
be leading you on otherwise.
Exactly, but it's just the ego can't take the rejection, so you have to find a reason about why he's in the wrong.
Yeah,
and I think guys do it too. I think guys can get so much more toxic with this shit because that will turn into like insults.
Yeah,
you know, like stuff like that. And I think it's so fucked. Like fucking get a grip.
Yeah,
it's not that big of a deal. That someone like, you know, it's the same thing that I told you with my girlfriend when she was like, hey, I had a good time. I think we're just going to be friends. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic. You know what I mean? Like, cool. Then you've made a friend. Or if it's just like, look, it didn't click for me. Let's not see each other anymore. All right. I guess I understand how it can suck, especially if you had a good time or if you're like in this stage where you're starting to get attached to the person.
Yeah. Yeah. If you spoke for ages before.
Yeah, exactly. I can understand. But like, I think, there's way too much ego in dating. And I think people have such a hard time handling rejection. And I think, again, that's why then people put so much pressure on the first date because you're afraid of rejection. So you have to be perfect and make sure that everything clicks the first time because Hollywood told you that that's what real love is.
Yeah.
And it's rough. For all the people dating out there, I feel you.
I'm with you.
You guys are absolute troopers. I am so happy that I find my person. I found my person.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, in terms of dealing with rejection, I think it's something that I've become much better at, and that it was something I used to take really personally. Whereas now I think because I know how hard it is to reject someone. Like, I'm someone who really struggles to say no.
Yeah.
I'm really bad with like confrontation. Not that it's a confrontation, but you know what I mean? So when I do have someone say that to me, I like make sure that it's clear that there's no hard feelings, because I know how hard it is.
Yeah.
Like, 100%. I mean, I had that really recently with like a really lovely person who like wanted to go on a second date, but then realized that just their life circumstances can't
allow that.
Yeah. So I like went out my way to send a voice note like, hey, I'm not mad, like it's all good. Not that I would have a right. Yeah, it's like, not that I would have a right to be angry anyway, but I wanted to like make sure they knew that, because I imagined that they were really anxious sending that message.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, just based on like the vibe I got from them and like putting myself in their shoes. Like, so I get it. It's like, it's just
rejecting
honesty.
someone is very difficult.
It is. And honesty. Especially when it's someone who's really nice and you're like, listen,
and it's not about them.
Nice. Yeah, it's just,
not about
it's just
you.
You're just not for me.
Yeah, or sometimes it's not even about the person. It's about like maybe their lives are too hectic.
Yeah.
And something is happening, and it sucks because you're not necessarily happy about. I know that one of the reasons why it's difficult for me to make that step of being like, okay, let's have a relationship is because I'm insanely busy.
Yes.
I never stop working. Like I told you earlier, like I'm in London right now. This is my first vacation in 6 years.
Right.
Because I never stopped. And now I'm just like, okay, I need to go on a vacation because I've been burning out since January, and it's April and I'm still burning out. So I need a break. And I'm very busy, and work takes such a huge part of my life that I feel like being in a relationship with somebody is not a decision that I can take lightly.
Exactly.
Because it's a commitment to someone, and you want to be the best partner you can be to that person.
Yeah, not do it half-assed.
Exactly. So I need to have a realistic view on how that would work. And I feel like if I am with someone and it's not clicking in a way where I could see myself make that commitment, I would be a dick to let that go on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's more heartbreak down the line.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's just honesty, and also on the other side of that, just understanding. You have to be like, people are perfectly within their right to reject you, and no matter what their reasons are, it is not your place to like, you know, get angry or like stuff like that. You can be angry, but like, don't take it out on the person, because someone rejecting you, I'm sorry, but rejecting you is not wrong. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it is
it's not immoral.
Yeah, exactly. Like someone is not an asshole for rejecting you. And I think that's something that has to be understood by a lot of people. And it's the same concept with the friend zone, which I think is kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of the time it's like people treat the friend zone like it's like this mystical place that you're being sent to, and for whatever reason, and I don't vibe with that, but just I think people need to drop their egos. We need to stop acting like you only should ever have one shot to envision a relationship with someone, and that's the first date, and if you don't get it right on the first date, then there's no fucking chance this is happening.
Yeah.
I think we need to drop that, and I think people would actually start having fun with dating again, and not just constantly be crushed under like a pressure they can barely handle, because first dates have become so nerve-wracking.
They really have.
That it's just not fun. People feel like you just have to get through the first date and just hope that maybe you get a second where you can start to be a bit more, and that's sad.
It is.
That's really sad.
Yeah, because ultimately it should be fun. It's meeting someone. It's meeting someone, learning about someone new, meeting someone that you probably wouldn't meet in real life. Like if it's a dating app.
Absolutely.
Like there are people that I would never have met, you know, because like we had such different walks of life, and that's fantastic, you know, and you're learning about different people and that kind of thing. Like, and my favorite is when, like, in terms of like rejection or whatever, my favorite is when you go on a date and it's like mutual understanding of incompatible vibes, and like neither of you have to do the rejecting. You just get it. Like I had that recently where like met someone absolutely lovely and like very gorgeous or whatever. We just didn't vibe like that. But like I learned about their life and I was like, you're really interesting. I'm really glad I learned about this person.
Yeah.
And then we just left it at that. And it was like, it was a nice experience just for that. I don't regret that evening. Yeah. I don't see it as a waste of time. It's like, no, it's all good.
Do you have like a terrifyingly terrible date story?
I've been pretty lucky. I mean, apart from the thing I told you earlier, but
yes.
I can't say that.
We will not get into that.
Sorry. But no, as far as I can think of, not really. No, I don't think so. Have you?
I had one date. I've been pretty lucky too, and to be perfectly honest, I haven't gone on a lot of dates, but yeah, I have one particular one where I was vibing with this girl through messages, but we didn't talk a whole lot, and then eventually I was just like, I'm gonna ask her out and see where that goes. Oh, she was so mean.
What?
Oh my God, she was so mean.
What, in person?
Yeah.
Oh no.
In person. You know how everybody says that like the most telling thing about a person is if they're gonna be mean to like waiting staff?
Service people. No, she wasn't. Was she?
I've never felt so embarrassed in my entire life. She was so rude. She was so rude. And even to me, she said things to me. Like she would make comments about my physical appearance and stuff like that. Like it was very bizarre. I ended the date early.
No,
yeah,
that's awesome.
I think I made up a bullshit excuse to get the fuck out of there. And then I think she texted me like a couple days later. I can't remember what it was about specifically, but I think in her head, it was a great night. She was just kind of vibing. She did not pick up
I would love to live in that level of delusion. That sounds fun.
She did not pick up on it at all, and
well, I guess she probably didn't realize that she was being rude. She probably
absolutely not. Yeah, no. She would say things that were. Oh,
was she Canadian?
It was so. No, she was French.
Okay.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, sorry, you didn't want me to break your perception of Canadians being nice. That's me. That's so funny.
I'm not saying anything. No comment.
That's so funny. But yeah, it was. But I think that's my one story that was like really.
Yeah,
bad.
that's horrible. Because like, I mean, as you say, like instant write off if someone's rude to wait staff.
It's awful.
Instant write off.
Fucking terrible.
And it's so embarrassing as well. It's like, do you apologize on their behalf? Do you go in private and say like?
I think I did apologize to the waitress specifically.
Yeah.
Because I think there was another person that was at the restaurant that she was rude to. I think it's like, the person who like comes in at the entrance to like give you a table and everything. And she was so standoffish for no reason.
Yeah.
And, but I didn't see that person again. But like the waitress I went to and I was like, hey, I'm really sorry. I don't even know her like that. Like just trying to get the blame off of me. I don't even know her. I don't even like her. I don't even know who she is actually. But yeah, it was rough. Like being mean, don't be mean to wait staff. That
tells me
rude.
Everything about a person. Like I can't even be friends with someone like that, let alone not date someone like, because it just says to me that you've never worked a day in your life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like working in service is real character building.
That retail or any sort of warehouse work.
Yeah.
I did that for a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
If you want to be treated like less than human,
go work in a
warehouse. It's incredible because it's not only shitty, psychologically because of the way you're treated, but it is physically demanding.
Yeah, no, I imagine.
And it's oh my God, yeah, it was not a fun time. I mean, I did meet Bruno working there.
Really?
And now he's on the podcast. Yeah, we met there. It was we bonded over the stupidest fucking thing. I was like, he came in and I was at that specific warehouse. I was the only one. Oh, just to clarify, Bruno is my co-host on my podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of my best friends. He's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And we met there. I was working in this warehouse and I was the only one doing the specific job I was doing there.
Mm-hmm.
And they hired Bruno. I had been there for like a month and they asked me to like explain to him through the day what I do so that he can do it with me. And I met him. I go, hey, how are you? I'm Dylan. He's like, hi, I'm Bruno. Nice to meet you and everything. Okay, I'm gonna show you around. And then I was wearing like a Star Labs shirt, which is from The Flash, right?
Mhm.
And then he immediately sees. He goes, oh, Star Labs, immediate best friends. Just like the perks of being nerds, you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
just bond over something so quickly.
I love that.
And just he became one of my best friends. And like then I decided to start a podcast, and I was like, homie,
You got to be on it.
do it with me.
Exactly.
Yeah. And he's like he's such a sweetheart. He's like the
Yeah.
nicest human being. It's like we don't deserve him.
Aw.
Too good for humanity.
Exactly. Some people are just like that. They're
Yeah.
just wholesome characters, and
He's
we love
just
that.
so lovely. Like it's crazy. And I love having him on the podcast. And I love doing the podcast with Amanda the Jedi, of course, and Broy, who you've had on the
Yes,
podcast.
Broy of Broy Deschanel fame.
Broy Deschanel, yes. Incredible YouTube channel.
Yes.
Everybody go watch it.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're the best. They're like, I feel very lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Like, they're two of the like coolest women this platform has
I
ever
know.
known. And Bruno is just like the ultimate sweetheart, and just having them. Like, it's so fun. It is so incredibly fun. It was tiring because we shot the whole season in a week.
Yeah, I imagine.
That was intense.
Luminac.
That was intense. We were very like burnt out on podcasting by the end of it.
Yeah, yeah. You're almost like, because you're just talking and talking. And...
Yeah, and like you have to be on it every day for like
Yeah.
a week straight. And I did that in the middle of moving as well.
Oh, gosh.
And I was working on a Teen Wolf video, which turned out to be like 90 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So like I was just by the end of that week, I was just a zombie pretending to be human and alive.
Yeah.
Like it was rough, but it was incredibly fun.
Oh, speaking of Teen Wolf and requests and that kind of thing, something you get a lot as someone who makes stuff about media, it is requests.
Yes,
And
video
I
requests.
imagine that can get a bit overwhelming. What are things that you will never make videos on?
You know what? I'm currently making a video about all the shows I will never make videos on.
Okay, so no spoilers then. Okay.
There's one that I can say because
Okay.
it's obvious. Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to do Game of Thrones. It makes no sense for me to video on Game
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
first of all, the show ended 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like everything that could have possibly been said about this show has been said. I
Right.
have nothing new to bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
I could make a video where I'm like, the show was really good, and then season 8 sucked, but like that's everyone's opinion.
Everyone's thing.
I don't have anything to bring a different perspective or anything like that. You know, I feel like so many creators have made fantastic video essays about it. Cosmonaut Variety Hour,
Broy has
Lindsay
one.
Ellis. Broy has made one on Game of Thrones. It wasn't about the ending.
Okay.
It was like
I haven't seen it because I've never seen Game of Thrones, so I don't watch videos about things
you
I haven't
seen
seen.
Game of Thrones?
No, and I just feel like there's no point now.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
recommend it. Even though like the first like 5 seasons are like some of the greatest television ever made.
Oh.
Oh, it is genuinely one of the best shows ever made, but they fucked up the ending so bad that I can't recommend watching it.
That's sad when the ending of a show ruins its whole legacy. Like,
Yeah.
I know this is a different example,
You're
but
going to
like,
say Pretty Little Liars.
yeah. I know Pretty Little Liars is chaotic and bad anyway, but it was like chaotic and bad in a beautiful way. And then the ending just like,
Yeah.
it was insulting to the audience. And this
Yeah.
audience had already put up with so much buffoonery.
They had already put out with a lot of disappointment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the reality of Pretty Little Liars, the more I think about it, is that it only ever had one good twist, and that's at the end of season 2 when they revealed that the original A was
Yeah.
Mona.
Yeah.
And after that, every massive major twist they've had was shit.
Yeah. And also a plot hole.
Oh, a plot hole?
Yeah.
7 million
Yeah.
plot holes. It's so... Nothing in this show makes sense. From season 3, you can tell they were just making shit up as they
Oh,
went.
they absolutely
They
were.
pretended all the time that it was all part of the plan.
Yeah, no,
There was no
It
plan.
not.
There was
So-
no plan.
Yeah.
Ah, there was such bullshit. And yeah, this ending... I mean, I hate... It's a rough word to use, but the ending is spineless. Because they tried to have it both ways, right? Like, if you don't know, basically... Spoiler alert for Pretty Little Liars. The ending of the mystery where you discover who was behind all of everything that was happening was the secret evil twin of one of the main characters, Spencer. And
Such a cliche.
it is such a spineless ending because it's like they knew that people theorized about one of the main 4 girls being A. So they were like, oh, so we're going to give them one of the main four girls as being A, but we don't actually have the balls to do that.
Yeah,
so we're
it's
going to
not
make
her.
it
Yeah.
a twin, a secret twin.
Oh, man, they've already done a secret twin with Allison's mum. Right?
Allison's mom, and like they kept alluding to twins all the time, and they're like, twins run in the family, and shut up.
Shut the fuck up.
Such a fucking stupid thing. Like, Marlene King. I live to be critical of her work, though.
Yeah.
Because Ravenswood, have you watched that?
Yeah, no,
spin-off?
not Ravenswood, but I've watched The Perfectionist, which they didn't let her
Oh,
be on, right?
yeah. They canceled that after 10 episodes.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
To be fair, it sucked ass.
It was boring.
It was so boring.
Because at least Pretty Little Liars, I will give it something. It's not boring.
No, Pretty Little Liars is terrible, but it's entertaining.
Oh, it's so entertaining.
Yeah, it's
fabulous.
entertaining. But like, yeah, The Perfectionist was not entertaining at all.
No, it was really
is so
dry.
flat.
And the characters are really boring as well.
Oh my God, yeah. And one of them ended up in Gossip Girl 2021.
Oh my God, let's quickly talk about that.
Okay.
I won't keep you here forever, but like, I actually think that might be one of my favorite videos of yours, your video on the Gossip Girl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is a rogue one, I know, because like, you know, but I think you really perfectly captured everything that's like so wrong with the reboot, because when watching it, it felt so off, but I couldn't articulate why.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you really captured like all the things they got wrong with it.
It is actively my least favorite show of all time.
Yes. Do you want to try and like narrow your thesis?
Yeah,
it's difficult. I mean, go watch the video, people. Go watch the video. But
I'm very proud of it. I kind of rage quit the video. I just start yelling, and then I'm like, I'm done, and I leave. But I do.
It's very funny.
I do put a lot of thought into that video, but I think it's weird because it's made by the same people, but it's a show that completely missed the point of what made the original show so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so empty. It has nothing to offer. Mm-hmm. You can tell they made this show because HBO Max was like, we need to really build our name. So let's just take all of the recognizable IPs that we have and just make a spin-off. Or that's the same thing they did with Sex and the City. Mm-hmm. I haven't even seen this show, but I heard the most terrible things about it. Mm-hmm. It lacks all of the personality of the original, and all it has, like, I will say, the only good thing about Gossip Girl 2021 is, like, visually, it's pretty to look at.
Yes.
It has, like, a solid aesthetic.
Yeah.
But that's it. It has some of the most boring, uninteresting, useless characters I have seen in a while. And that's coming from someone who watched 2 seasons of Emily in Paris. Like, it is so bad. The acting is laughable, and I hate it in videos when I have to point out bad acting because like I don't want to be rude, but there are a few times where I feel like if I don't bring it up, I feel like it's almost unfair. Yeah. And like that's one of those shows. It is so awkward to watch. The writing is laughable. It was such a frustrating experience for me because I was really rooting for this show. I wanted Gossip Girl 2021 to be excellent, and like they cut a good trailer that seemed intense, and it felt like it was going to be like a more mature take on the concept of Gossip Girl. I like the idea of Gossip Girl no longer being a website but an Instagram profile. The potential was insane. They could have done so much, and then it just turned out to be like the most boring, uninteresting, frustrating show. Pretentious as hell, by the way.
It took itself so seriously.
Yes, and like the virtue signaling, the show has like the pretension of addressing hot topics.
But it didn't. No,
it's just having a character talk about like or say the word capitalism is not commentary.
No.
I'm sorry. It's just, but that's a larger problem with Hollywood at the moment. But like, I think that if you want the A-grade example of how Hollywood wokeness is empty and devoid of any actual thought, Gossip Girl 2021, that's the entire show. The entire show is just so far up its own ass. It was such an unpleasant experience. I hated it so much. And I actually got so angry because I thought the show was 10 episodes long. I think I say that in the video. I thought the show was 10 episodes long.
13 or something random?
Yeah, I think so. It was 12 or 13 episodes.
God, those last few episodes were hard to get through. I wanted to finish it just because I'm a what's the word?
Completionist, yeah.
It was rough.
The finale was so bad.
Oh my God, it's so cringe. You know that bit where there's so many, all the cringiest moments are with Julian Calloway, and there's this bit where she's like, I'm Julian fucking Calloway. And it's like, no! And there's that scene, Bro tweeted about it. It was like, about...
Oh, I'm a bully scene?
I'm a bully.
Oh my God. I'm sure you can find it. Like, if you go on YouTube and type Gossip Girl 2021, I'm a bully scene, you'll find it. It is...
horrific.
It's so cringe. And again, it's the show attempting to tackle social commentary and be woke about it. And it is so uncomfortable to watch. Like, and whether I do it in your face or behind your back, it doesn't change the fact that I am a bully. Julian Calloway. Like, it's so I absolutely hated it. It has none of the fun of the original. Because the
original was quite, like, it had moments that were quite camp and like quite self-aware.
It's ridiculous.
And, like,
self-aware is the perfect term.
Yeah, it was like almost like a bit of a satire.
Yeah, and
it was just very. And then I think you say this in your Gossip Girl video. When it starts to go wrong, is that when it starts to take itself more seriously? I think?
Yeah, like season 1 of Gossip Girl
Fantastic.
Is genuinely a fantastic season of TV. It is. It holds up really well.
Yes.
Except for like maybe the social media aspect, because like who the fuck has a BlackBerry now?
Yeah.
But like it's
for the time.
Yeah, for the time. But like it holds up in terms of like it's very well paced. And like the writing is solid and everything. Like I talk about it in my video about the original Gossip Girl, but like the build up to Georgina in season 1 is insane. Like it has no right to be this good.
And like I think the way it develops the parents as well is really good.
Yes,
like,
the relationship between Lily and Rufus is very interesting.
Yeah.
The romance between Dan and Serena is still very compelling. I think
Blair's
they fuck it up.
Because you were talking about how like she becomes a Jack Sparrow, whereas in season 1 like she's much more complex.
Very much so. Like season 1, because that's the thing. Like Blair is like, we all know why we love her. She's sassy. She's an absolute asshole. She's like a terrible person. But season 1, they make a great job at showing the mentality behind that. It's not just her being that, but it's why is she the way she is. And I think they do a great job at explaining that. She's super insecure. She feels like she's always living in Serena's shadow.
Her mom is very hypercritical.
Yeah, exactly. She always feels like she needs to satisfy her mom. And her dad left and she has huge abandonment issues. And like there's so many, she dealt with an eating disorder, which I think they didn't handle that the best, but like it does give an insight into why Blair is so obsessed with control and why Blair is so mean and so rude and has such a good time putting people down.
Always on the attack, because I think she's doing it to prevent being attacked.
Exactly. She wants to be powerful so that people can't get to her emotionally.
Exactly.
And that's very interesting. But then, they pulled a Jack Sparrow where people got very attached to her being sassy and being an asshole. So starting in season 2, being sassy and being an asshole becomes her entire character. And she loses all of the layers that were given to her in the first season. And that's a big problem with the whole show. I think season 1 is great. The first half of season 2 is great. And then starting in the second half of season 2, the second Army Hammer shows up.
Yeah. No, done.
It completely dives. And then when I was rewatching it, I remember having a hard time getting through season 3. And then season 6 is so ridiculous.
Just at that point.
It just turns into a weird soap opera.
None of the actors wanted to be there.
I don't think so. No, I think some of them wanted to. It's the same with Riverdale.
Yeah,
right?
They're stuck.
I think every actor in Riverdale.
Free Riverdale actors. Free the Riverdale cast.
Free them.
Yeah.
Oh my God, poor them. And I think Lily Reinhart, who does not give a fuck anymore. She went on Instagram Live and she was like, we're probably going to be done like after season 7. So, she doesn't care.
It's the thing with Riverdale. I mean, it's hard to tell because the writing's so bad, but like some of the actors on there, I'm like, you've got chops. Like you've got acting chops.
Most of them are really good, actually.
Yeah, and it's like you're just stuck in this absolute hellhole.
It's awful. And they're stuck in contracts that... And that happens. Like when I said that in my video, a lot of people were like, oh, well, they can leave. People leave shows. I'm like, Have you heard? You know the show, The Secret Life of the American Teenager,
I've heard of it.
with
I haven't seen it.
Shailene Woodley. Shailene Woodley hated making this show. She hated it from the jump, like from the start. But because the show is very, it preaches a lot of very specific views about abstinence and stuff like that. Like, it's the story of a 15-year-old girl who has sex for the first time and gets pregnant, and then she has the baby and she becomes a teen mom and blah blah blah. And like, but then it preaches a lot of shit about abstinence, and I think there was stuff about abortions at some point and everything. And Shailene Woodley quickly realized that she did not at all agree with the views the show was preaching. But unfortunately, she was stuck in a contract. And so she had to do 5 seasons of this show.
Wow.
And hated every second of it. I think she said that after that, and after doing Divergent, which I think she hated as well, she literally considered quitting acting. But because Divergent is the same, like, I think the first one did well, but then there were contract stuff, and then the series just started going on a dive. They never finished that franchise. There was supposed to be one more movie, but the third one tanked, and they were like, oh, maybe we'll make it as a TV show.
Yeah.
And then Shailene Woodley and the rest of the cast was like, we're not coming back for a fucking TV show. And so they just didn't do it. But that happens. And the Riverdale cast, I'm absolutely sure of it. Like, I think a lot of them are just waiting for their contracts to be finished to fuck off and do other things. Lady Reinhardt is insanely talented.
Right.
She's really good. And I'm very excited to see what they're going to do after.
Yeah.
Because these shows, because these shows take so much of your life.
Oh, yeah.
Because one, they shoot in Vancouver for 9 months out of the year, which means they have a 3-month window to take another project and hopefully do a movie. But when they kind of get out of there, Netflix is going to try to throw contracts at them to try and get them to do movies and stuff like that. But yeah, like KJ Apa, who plays Archie, fairly talented actor. Like, a lot of people say he's really bad, but like, I don't think he is. It's just a lot of their acting comes across as awkward, and that's because the dialogue is shit.
It's because the dialogue sounds like it was written by like an AI.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
It's like, no matter how good of an actor you are, there's only so much you can do with terrible writing.
Yeah, very much. And Roberto Aguirre Sacasa is like the...
Oh, yeah, there's a whole section in your brilliant Riverdale video where you explain what all the beef you have with this guy.
Such a strange human being. And I don't know him personally. For all I know, he's a great guy. But I have, like, if there's one creator whose work I cannot bring myself to respect in any way, shape, or form. Like, because there are shows that I don't like personally, but I can understand why people like it. And I'm like, I respect that. Like, it's a good show. It just wasn't my thing. But his work, all of the things, look, he made Riverdale. He made The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yeah, that made me angry that like he takes something with potential and makes it terrible.
It was his own comic book.
Yeah.
He adapted his own comic book, and the adaptation sucks.
Yeah.
I don't get it. He did that. He's the one who turned Glee into an absolute shit show. He became showrunner or executive producer, I think it's season 3, and that's when the show tanked and was like impossible to recover. He wrote the worst episodes of Supergirl, which is already like a bad show, but he made it even worse somehow. And he also wrote the 2013 reboot of Carrie with Chloe Grace Moretz. That was absolutely awful. That was him as well. Everything he touches, but he's friends with Greg Berlanti,
so he keeps getting work.
He can get whatever project he wants. He's doing the new Pretty Little Liars on HBO Max,
which shouldn't be happening.
Which should not be happening at all. But I understand why they didn't go with Marlene King, because you had 3 chances and you kept fucking it up. My bad. But there is that. And he's doing a True Blood reboot, which is fucking ridiculous. True Blood should not be rebooted. Let it die. But he's doing that as well. And I'm sure he's going to get more massive franchises and everything. Because I'm down for, I think, if it were me rebooting Pretty Little Liars, I would make it like a super sinister psychological thriller, because the idea of A is insane. I think I would age the girls up. I think I would start it like Allison goes missing when they're teenagers, and then you jump like 7 years later when they're like 22. Yeah. And then it starts, because I think you can do so much. You can tell like a very, like, that's what I say about Pretty Little Liars is in the right hands, it could have been the Gone Girl of television.
Yes.
Like
I think that too.
The concept of A is insane.
It's so cool.
You could do something so fucking scary with it. It could be like borderline horror and like with very heavy like the show did a terrible job at showing like the psychological repercussions of the situations these girls are in, right? They always seem kind of fine. They're always just kind of existing through it.
When actually you would have so many psychological
you wouldn't be able
effects.
to trust anyone.
No.
You wouldn't be like the paranoia.
They
that
just
comes
brush
with
over
it.
that, don't they?
Very much so. I think you get one storyline where Spencer, she had this ridiculous storyline where she gets addicted to drugs out of nowhere and then she's just magically fine.
Yeah, it's like that stays with you.
Yeah, they did the same thing with Hannah where she becomes an alcoholic for like 2 weeks.
And then she's fine.
And then she's totally fine. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I just feel like giving him Pretty Little Liars, because even if he makes a good first season, the second he gets the creative control fully, he will just turn it into another Riverdale. And it's
makes me sad.
Riverdale now, okay. The first season of Riverdale is just a very chill murder mystery.
Yeah, no, I think the first season's like for what it is.
It's fine.
I really like it.
It's fine. But Riverdale now is dealing with parallel universes. They're witches now.
Oh my god, fuck off.
Yeah, Sabrina shows up in Riverdale.
No, because it got cancelled because he made it so bad.
Exactly. There's that. It's dealing with supernatural stuff, parallel universes. I think there's a whole storyline where Jughead discovers that there is another Jughead in another dimension, and he's the one who's writing the show. That's why you hear a voiceover of Jughead the whole show, because it's actually the Jughead from another universe type thing. No. From what I understand, the last few episodes, now they have superpowers.
Oh my god.
I think Archie has like super strength or something, and I'm pretty sure Betty can hear people's thoughts or stuff like that.
Suddenly it's a supernatural show.
It's insane. It makes absolutely no sense. That's just what Roberto does and his next projects. And the thing is, like, he has nobody to stop him.
Yeah, he's unstoppable.
Yeah, because he's friends with Greg Berlanti.
He won't go away. He's like a bad smell.
Absolutely. 100%. Someone sent me a message the other day. Was like, imagine Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa had made 50 Shades of Grey. I'm like, don't give him ideas. He would reboot it in a heartbeat.
He would.
He's just witches showing up in 50 Shades. God damn it, I hate his work so much.
No.
I'm sure he's a great guy.
If you're watching this,
you know what you did.
You
know what you did.
So I have one more little question for you because I am curious. I know you can't say who it is, but you mentioned after the Gossip Girl video that someone from the cast reached out to you. How does it feel knowing that when you critique work, there is a possibility that the people involved might see it? How do you tackle that mentally?
I try not to think about it too much.
Oh, okay, right. That makes sense.
It's happened a couple times.
Really? No, so not just that one time?
Not just that one time. I've had, I'm not going to say who specifically,
of course,
but I've had one of the actors from Chilling Adventures of Sabrina message me.
No.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And I had a heart attack. I thought, because I see the notification and I know that I'm very critical of these shows, but I also, because I roast shows a lot, I think that's fair to say, because I like to be funny about it, right? Because I'd rather that than just yelling and be bitter. But also I try to be as fair as possible. Even in shows like Gossip Girl 2021, which I hated, I try to find a silver lining. And I feel like Chilling Adventures of Sabrina was a show where I was able to find a lot of good to point out. But when I see the notification from that person and I see the verified thing, my heart sinks because I'm like,
the blue tick.
I'm like, I am so fucking dead.
Yeah.
I am so dead. These people are 100% going to hate me because I am fucking roasting something that they have spent so many hours working on and everything. And you know, I got a message from another show. I won't say which show, but like the message was like, thank you for like raising concerns that we can't raise. Because
they're staff. They're contractors.
Exactly. And that's what I said about Emily in Paris.
That's really interesting.
In season 2, because I was like, they know the show is bad. They're not stupid.
Yeah.
But it's their job.
And you say that. You're like, I don't want these shows to be cancelled. I want them to be better. Because ultimately, you want
100%.
people to be working. You want people to have jobs.
Yes, I hate it when people call for a show to be canceled because it's like what you're really asking is for hundreds of people to lose their job.
Right.
And not just the actors and like they're already rich. No, there are people there like
makeup
working,
artists,
lighting and everything. Those are people, they know the show is bad, but at the same time, this is how they put food on the table for their kids or something.
It's their work.
It's their work.
Runners.
Exactly, because canceling a show is not just canceling a show, it is firing hundreds of people.
Exactly.
And that's not an easy thing. And no, I don't like Emily in Paris, but I don't want the show to be anyways, it's not canceled. They renewed it for 2 more seasons. Which the fuck. But it's great because people are gonna keep working and everything. I just hope maybe just stop making fun of different cultures. That's it.
Novel idea.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I've had that. That was a message that I got. The message from the Chilling Adventure of Sabrina actor was super sweet as well. We're like, oh, like your videos are very fun. Thank you for talking about the show. Criticism is fair. You know, like people are very nice.
But very graceful.
Gossip Girl 2021 is like probably the show I have been the rudest to.
You did lose your patience. You rage quit. You literally rage quit.
And by the way, a lot of people thought that me rage quitting at the end of the video was a bit. It's not a joke. I had more script written for that video, but I got so angry that I started yelling for like 3 minutes straight. And then just ended the video for real.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it.
But so when I got that message, I was like, okay, this time for sure. They're bringing war to my doorstep. Like I am dead. I am so dead. And they were actually super nice. And they were like, the video was hilarious. Really? I absolutely loved it. It was funny. And again, it's like I agree with a lot of the stuff, but I can't really say that.
They could never say it.
Exactly.
No, gosh. Because then they'd never get hired again. It's not even just like, even if their contract is over and they're not involved in that show.
Oh, no, you can't go public with that.
Yeah, if an actor slags off a show they've been in, no director is ever going to cast them in anything.
Yeah, no, you can't. You absolutely can't do that.
So they just have to sit with the fact that they hate
exactly.
which must be shit.
I think it's just, they just have to like see it as, again, their job and just be like, I'm just going to work, doing my thing.
Exactly.
And
detachment.
And so I got this message and I was like, it genuinely kind of touched me because I think it would be so easy for them to see it as like an attack. But they understand, I think, that it's like I'm being critical of the work, but it's not because I'm like hateful of the people in it or etc. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, no matter for how long I yell. But yeah, I got this message and I was like, first of all,
the relief.
Yeah, that I'm not being like, we're gonna fucking sue you, motherfucker. Like it was like very chill, like a very like, hey, that video was very funny and everything. But yeah, no, I think they're very understanding, and I think now criticism on YouTube has become so common that I think they're kind of used to that.
Yes.
But yeah, and again, I try to be as fair as can be because I have seen, creators that like when they don't like something, they will go out of their way to insult everything about it and sometimes take shots at the actors and how they look and stuff like that. I'm just like, that's not necessary. I'm just very passionate about television and the writing, and I want to share my opinion. And sometimes like some people will kind of clap back because they don't agree or something. Some people were like, oh, well, I think you were harsh on like Bridgerton, like, because it wasn't that bad. And, it's like, look, different people will have different tastes. What I think I said that I recently did a video on Euphoria. And at the beginning of the video, I say, I am here to share my opinion. I'm not here to validate yours. Because I think like a lot of people sometimes when they don't share the opinion you have in your video, they feel like, what do I do? Because I disagree with you, so I have to hate you now? Is that what happens? It's like, no, it's fine. We just have different...
This is what engaging with art is.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the exciting thing about it.
And it's fun. Let's talk about it. Tell me why you disagree and everything. Sometimes people will like message me on Instagram to be like, hey, you said this in your video. Here's why my opinion is different. And like I'll have like a fun little exchange with them. And that's super fun. But I think actors are like very understanding. Sometimes they can get very defensive. Like I think Lily Reinhardt from Riverdale is someone
has a rep for that. Right?
Yeah, she has a reputation for that. She's very protective of Roberto.
Right.
Yeah, like whenever someone criticizes, she's gone after people on Twitter who criticize Roberto.
Oh dear, I hope she doesn't find your video.
I'm praying, just praying to
Because
not.
you really don't pull any punches.
Oh no! Oh my god! If she sees that, I will get bodied so fast. Oh my god!
We like you, Lily. You're very talented.
I love your work. I can't fucking wait for you to be out of the show. You have actual talent.
Yeah.
I cannot wait for you to see what you do next. Just Riverdale ain't it, sis.
Yeah.
And everyone, Madeleine Petch as well, who plays Cheryl Blossom.
Oh, is she quite protective?
She's no, like she's really good, and I'm like excited to. I don't know how protective she is. I know Lily Reinhardt like will very much like defend the show and stuff. Like at the same time, she doesn't care because she admits in interviews that some of the stuff they're doing is completely stupid.
It's very confusing, yeah, because in interviews I've seen her like imply that she thinks it's shit.
Yeah, she doesn't give a shit
it's very
at all.
odd.
It's weird. I just think she's protective of the people that work on the show. I think that like clearly she has to be close with Roberto, and so it has to be hard to see people fucking insulting him and shit like that.
Gotcha.
Because there was a thing I can't remember what it was about, but somebody said something about Roberto and the way he portrays gay people.
Okay.
But he himself is gay, right? So she kind of clapped back at somebody on Twitter because of that. There was a thing that happened on TikTok as well, where somebody commented something on her TikTok and she kind of like clapped back in another comment or something. She's very protective. And I understand that like 100%. Like the people you work with, those are people they see more than their own families.
Yeah.
So it has to come with a certain level of attachment where it's not easy to see them being bagged on. And I think like that's why I thought I was dead with the Gossip Girl 2021 video, because that's where I was like, I singled out people being like, your performance was shit.
Yeah, which you've never done before.
Which I've never done before, but it was a case where I was like, I have to talk about it.
Because it was distracting. It was legit. The people you talk about, like their performances were distracting.
It is. It takes you out of the scene.
Yeah.
Because it's that bad. And like, I'm not trying to be rude, like at all, you know, because I'm not. I don't want to be like, you're fucking suck. Like you have no future in this industry.
Yeah.
Like that's not what I say. But it's just very much pointing out that like, and also there are some where I was like, he's bad here, but I've seen him in other things. He can actually act. It's just I don't know what the fuck he's doing now.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's just criticism can be rough. Sometimes I kind of forget that people actually watch my videos.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a weird thing, isn't
like
it?
it's very bizarre, but I feel like I think I've been lucky. I think of the people that have seen my videos and even my community on the internet, like Fleabag video aside, I think people are very chill. People are very fun. And like, I do think I have an audience that is very fun to interact with. So I consider myself lucky because I mean, you know, we have friends on YouTube who have a community that is just not fun to enjoy, I guess. There's a lot of toxicity and stuff like that. So I think I'm on the lucky side of things.
Definitely.
Thank you guys.
Yeah. And on that note, since we're on a nice note, I think we're closing in on 2 hours.
That's great.
So
That's
I think we'll love and leave you all. And thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I'm so happy to be here. This is
I
the
know.
best part of London.
The fact that we did it IRL.
Yeah.
So we were going to do it over Zoom, and then you were like, hold on.
Honestly, how long did we postpone me doing the podcast?
Yeah.
I think we talked about it. We planned it every week for the next week for like 2 months.
Yeah.
And then eventually I was just like, you know what? I'm going on
I'm so
vacation.
glad it worked out this way. This is so much better.
Yeah, this is great. I have to come back.
Yes.
And then maybe you're gonna come
And
on the podcast.
maybe I can fly to Canada. What's that about? You know,
A boot? Oh God, no.
Oh no, I won't say that whilst I'm there. 'Cause I know, yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. But yeah. Well, thank you so much for everyone for listening. If you enjoyed, make sure to give it a like, comment, go subscribe to Friendly Space Ninja, and that's you're on Twitter, you're on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter like once a month. Absolutely hate Twitter.
Fair.
I'm on Instagram all the time, just at Friendly Space Ninja. And yeah, you can follow me on YouTube and on my podcast as well called The Mothership with Amanda the Jedi, Bruno the Commander, and Broe de Chanel.
Exactly. Great podcast. Go check that out. Okay. Well, do you want to say bye-bye like in Toy Story where they go bye-bye? Bye-bye now.
Oh, right.
One. Yep. Okay. So we'll do it in 3, 2, 1. I'll just move my mic.
Okay.
So, okay. And in 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Bye.